Welcome to 6th grade language. This is lesson 161. We're looking at pages 251 and 252 today. All right, and I am going to I'm going to go through the answers for Think B to see if you got all of those prepositional phrases. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing to find prepositional phrases if you don't follow the steps and you don't have a preposition to start with and end with an object and don't have more than one preposition in a phrase. So those things can be a little tricky, but we went over the first 5, but I'll just go over them again. So the first one is on islands, off the Atlantic coast, from Greenland, to Maine, at sea. Okay, and then we're looking at the next sentence. This one, the only prepositional phrase is in actions and looks. In actions and looks. Okay, so both of that, it's got 2 objects. So underline both of that and correct these as we go if you're not sure. All right. The next one is of yellow, gray, blue, and red. This one has 3 objects of the preposition because there are 3 colors. Okay. Of yellow, gray, blue, and red. Of a clown is the next one. To its appearance is the next one. All right, and the next one is on an important business trip. So all of that on an important business trip. After an undignified tumble is the next one. Then the new one right after it is from its hole. The new prepositional phrase in the slope. A new one of a bank, okay? So all of those are separate prepositional phrases. There's 4 of them right in a row, but they all have a new preposition. So it's not one phrase, it's 4 phrases, okay? The next one is into the water, and then on some rocks, in confusion, into a wave, from the ship's path, okay, and that ends that sentence. The next one is in a while. Next one, along a grassy cliff, into the air, on the cliff, among those, okay, so that one might have been the trickiest, I think, to distinguish, because among those is the phrase, and you might think living is part of it, but it's not. So among those is the phrase, and then along the coastal waters and of Maine and Canada is the last prepositional phrase, okay? All right, I hope you did well on those and that you got them all. And if you didn't, mark the ones you didn't get and just use that for a study guide, okay? Let me go ahead and give you the answers to Remember D, just so that this is another one that you can study from. For is a conjunction, all is a pronoun, have and send are verbs, and is conjunction, come is a verb, short is an adverb, of is a preposition, the is an adjective, glory is the noun, of is a preposition, and God is noun. Okay, so when it's asking for parts of speech, you put noun instead of the job that it does, so you wouldn't put object of preposition, so maybe you did that, but just the part of speech is necessary for this one, okay? So mark those if you didn't get them right, and you can use that to study. All right, we have a prepositions quiz coming up tomorrow, okay? So for Homework Friday, it did say to write the list and to memorize it if you haven't already. Okay, we're gonna sing the preposition song now, and let's sing it through twice, and then you can listen to the song on YouTube on your own, or just sing it through on your own, but get these memorized because the quiz tomorrow is writing this list. You have to have at least 40 of them. Any extra, there's 46, so any of the extra 6 are extra credit. So if you get them all, you get 6 extra credit points, which will help you in your overall language grade if you need the extra help. And so, I mean, I recommend memorizing them all. You can go through and see how many words start with A, how many start with B, and each letter, and try to remember using that way and knowing the song, or having said them so many times, that would be a way to help remember them. But then on the quiz would help you to know, okay, well, I have this many of the A words, so I've got all the ones that start with A, and I only have 2 of the B words, and there's lots more. So that may help you in writing them out. You can go through that. But let's sing through the song a couple times, and then we'll look at page 251. Aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, and let me start that over. I got mixed up on my words. Board, about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, at. These are the first ones: before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, by, down, during, except, for, and from, in, inside, into, like, near, of, off, on, over, past, since, through, and throughout, to, toward, under, underneath, until, up, upon, with, within, without. Now I am finished. So one more time. Aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, at. These are the first ones: before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, by, down, during, except, for, and from, in, inside, into, like, near, of, off, on, over, past, since, through, and throughout, to, toward, under, underneath, until, up, upon, with, within, without. Now I am finished. Very good. All right. So I hope you sang that with me and that you enjoyed that. Make sure to study those well tonight, so that you are well prepared to write them. It's just where you pull out a piece of paper and you write the word. So there's not a page that I give you or anything. So just so you're prepared for that, what type of quiz it is, so you can be ready. So think E on the top of 251. One of Carl Sandburg's most admired short poems is Fog. Enjoy his poem and then answer the questions in the box. Okay, so I'm going to read the poem for you, and then you can answer those questions about it, okay? The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over the harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. It's kind of a neat little poem. It gives you a picture in your head, and that's what a poem is supposed to do. They're supposed to clearly show you what the author is trying to relay, and using those phrases that put a picture in your mind really make writing come alive. And so poems aren't the only way you can do that. You can do it in short stories and in longer writing. And so that's what, when you read writing like this and you're wanting to write something, you go to things like this and you say, okay, how can I duplicate, not by copying, but how can I do a similar thing and bring out my story, bring it to mind in the reader. So I love reading poems. So it does say, in which prepositional phrase does Carl Sandburg tell? So these three, in the 3 first questions, are asking for a prepositional phrase. So make sure you get the whole prepositional phrase. And then the second question, what part of speech is the last word in the poem? And so you look at that and you see what part of speech it is, okay? Think F. This poem by the English poet William Blake contains 7 prepositional phrases. Underline each phrase, okay? Night, the sun descending in the west, the evening star does shine. The birds are silent in their nest, and I must seek for mine. The moon, like a flower in heaven's high bower, with silent delight sits and smiles on the night. And that's a really cool poem too. So you find the 7 prepositional phrases in that poem. Then remember G, you're going to, in the blank, write the best form of the adjective or adverb in parentheses. If you can't remember those forms, look back in the book to where we had been working on those. So they would have been in the last unit. So if you're not sure which word to use for that. And then write H, write 3 sentences on notebook paper using inside. Okay, you're using the word inside. You're going to use it first, well, whichever order you do this in, but label it which one you're doing. One time as an adverb, one time as an adjective, and one time as a preposition, okay? So think through that before you start writing sentences, and just think, okay, how would I make it an adjective? What does it need to go in front of? All right, think through that. How would I make it an adverb? What would I be describing with it as an adverb? And how would it, and then, how would it be a preposition? So be thoughtful as you're working through those. Looking at page 252, these are common preposition errors, okay? So we have the word beside and besides, okay? Beside means by the side of. Besides, with the S, means in addition to. The spider sat down beside her. He has other shoes besides those he is wearing, okay? Writers understand the importance of knowing the right word to use. The following list gives you valuable information that will help you know and use the right words. You want to be using the correct words for your writing, because it shows that you really care about your writing and you want to do things the right way. Okay, between and among. Use between in referring to 2 people or things. Use among to refer to more than 2. There is nothing between my soul and the Savior. The money was divided among the 4 relatives. You have except and accept. Except is a preposition, means excluding. So the EX and excluding. Accept is a verb and means to receive or to agree to. Every player scored except Aiden. Will you accept Ethan's apology? And usually I don't put as much of an accent on accept unless I am trying to show the difference between the 2. Usually I just say, would you accept? Because we don't normally put as much emphasis on that first syllable, but I just did for that case. In and into. Use in for location within. Use into for motion from outside to inside. Please remain in your seat until the plane lands. Do not go into the room until someone calls for you. So you wouldn't want to say, please remain into your seat until the plane lands. It wouldn't sound right, and it's not right. So you can see that. Of and have. This one, I believe, comes about as a little bit of laziness, and sometimes can come, as I was reminded by a friend, that it could come because somebody thought that it was a contraction like should have or could have, and they just didn't know that was a contraction, that with a VE for have after should or could, and changed it to of, the word of instead. And so you should have finished by this time, but that would not be correct unless it was actually your contraction, should have, right? You should have finished by this time. But of, the preposition of, should never be used as the verb have. In this case, that would be putting it instead of, because when you have, sorry, let me just me start that over. Should have finished is a verb phrase, and putting a preposition in the middle of a verb phrase is not correct, because of finished would not be a prepositional phrase because finished is not a noun or a pronoun. So you wouldn't have that, and so that's the reason. To and, it's a similar thing. Do not use the conjunction and after the word try and sure. Use the word to instead. Try and come to church with me this Sunday. You would say try to come to church with me this Sunday. Be sure and turn off the light. You should say be sure to turn off the light. Okay, so in that instance, the conjunction is not used correctly. And so a conjunction should join two things together, but in this case, it really should be the preposition to that goes there. All right, well, look closely. There is a couple things to do in this. So like is a preposition to be followed by a noun or a pronoun. It should never be followed by a subject and verb, okay? Correct way to say this, the baby looks like his dad, all right? But here are 3 incorrect sentences. So I want you to write a correct sentence instead of these. This like, the use of like in these places does not need to be there. So you're going to rewrite these 3 incorrect sentences on notebook paper, changing like to as or as if. Note, avoid using like as a filler word in conversation. I was like so excited, and then she said like she was too. I understand that is a very common thing to have in vocabulary. It was when I was a teen, and I'm sure it still is. It's about as used as and so it is something that you may be used to saying, but especially in writing, you shouldn't use like that. But in conversation, you also should try to avoid using it like that. So there are correct ways to use like and incorrect, and just using it as a filler word isn't correct. So, all right. So I will let you finish page 251 and then do that. Look closely. That can be on the same paper that you do write F, or write H, I'm sorry, write H. And there I go using again. So, all right, I will let you go. Don't forget that you have a book report book due to be read by Wednesday. If you get done early, you can start writing that book report. It is due by Friday, okay? So have a good day, and we'll see you in the next lesson.